Welcome to Women with Drive, a podcast from the Deakin Melbourne Boomers, talking all things women's hoops, hosted by Boomers' own Lou Brown.
Hi everyone, listening or maybe watching. I'm so thrilled to be able to welcome you to Women with Drive, a podcast brought to you by the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. Was a little nervous with this next guest, but more so super excited to be able to speak with Lauren Jackson herself.
Women with Drive.
I can't exactly put into words how excited I am right now that I'm having the opportunity to interview an absolute idol of mine from the day I picked up a basketball. As with many young Australians who have ever picked up a basketball, Lauren Jackson is someone who we look up to on and off the court. So thank you so much, Lauren, for giving us your time today on Women with Drive. Absolutely honoured to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's cool. Yeah, I'm glad I'm sort of, obviously I've got some ties with the Boomers and it's really cool just to, be on your program. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Many of us, we know your lengthy list of career highlights, and I could list them and all, but we'd take up all of the podcasts and maybe a couple more. So today, we're speaking the Olympics specifically. So as an Australian Opal, WNBA and WNBL legend, we'll just quickly recap the Olympics specifically. Four-time Olympian, Sydney 2000, Athens 2004, Beijing 2008, and then of course London 2012, where you had the honour of being the flag bearer for the entire of the Australian Olympic team. Four-time medalist, 3 silvers, 1 bronze, and I absolutely just have to highlight the gold medal at the 2006 World Championships. And now post-playing, you are heading up the women's basketball at Basketball Australia. So Lauren, once again, welcome to Women with Drive.
Thank you.
So simple question to start. What 3 words come to mind to describe the experience of being a part of the Opals and as an Olympian?
3 words. I would say pride. I'd say honour for sure. And I'd say perseverance. I think, those 3 words sort of, encapsulate it for me. It's the national team was just playing for it was the greatest honour, that any athlete could have. And putting on the green and gold strip, whether it was a bodysuit or just a regular uniform, was just so special to me. And I really tried to make sure that I was there, particularly at the major events, because there's nothing like representing your country and then, also having that platform.
No, absolutely. And I'm absolutely know now that those are still things you embody even post-basketball career as well. Now, the Opals, they have a bit of an experience of a mix of experience and youth. You have Ezzy Magbagor, a 21-year-old going into her first Olympics, and then Leilani Mitchell as a 36-year-old. Lauren, you were 19 years old in Sydney and 31 years old in London. How are these experiences different at different stages of your career as an athlete?
I think my first Olympics, I definitely was very naive as to what I would be experiencing and the pressure. And I really just went in with no expectation whatsoever. And I just went in and had fun, and I played great basketball. It was, I was just doing what I love doing. And I was also in an environment where I felt really safe as well. Like the girls on that team were just incredible and they treated me like big sisters. They always had me under their wing. And then also to the coach and Marion Stewart, our manager, they'd sort of, tried to keep me out of the limelight a little bit. They'd made sure that I wasn't doing press conferences and things like that so that the pressure didn't sort of mount up. So, and I didn't know that at all. They did a really good job of sort of keeping me separate from all of it. So I really just went in and played and thoroughly enjoyed it. I was at home. My grandparents lived in Bankstown in Sydney, so Homebush was just right around the corner. And I had just some great experiences. As opposed to my last one, that was awesome too. I had a great time in London. Obviously, I was a flag bearer, but my body was starting to break down a little bit. And I was in a completely different role. I was someone who was sort of leading and trying to be a bit of a role model for the younger players coming in.
No, and I think as well, like your first Olympics and then you're at home in Sydney, I think you said it, it's just would ease a couple of those nerves going in. But what a surreal experience to have with you and your family for the rest of your lives. Could you maybe give us a little of an idea of what the day in the life of an Olympian looks like in the village, kind of during pool games and then into the medal round?
So a day in the life of an athlete in the village. Gosh, I can't even remember. That's going back a long way now. Look, all I remember was the food hall. You know, like the village is massive, so you've got transport in there that can take you through all the different countries, areas, and you know, you got a massive big food hall. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, you can go in there and get free McDonald's all day long. Any McDonald's that you wanted, like it was always there.
Wow,
so that's all I can really remember. I know. But no, I mean, there's all different types of food. So you've got all the different cultures. You know, there's obviously Japanese food, Chinese food, Indian food, like all just amazing Spanish, like all different cuisines. And it was incredible, you know, so there's nothing like it in the world.
Sounds like a foodie's dream.
Oh, it was absolutely was. And then, you know, the gym areas and like all the different areas they have there set up for the athletes. I remember in Sydney, they had like this big sort of common area for the Australian athletes, and every night like an Australian icon singer would come in and sing for us. And they'd have concerts in there, and it was just so cool. I mean, I think Tokyo is going to be very different for the athletes, and I think that's sort of sad that they're not going to be able to experience that. But, you know, in past Olympics, we've had just all sorts of people that, you know, high profile people come through the village and just celebrate with us and really, I guess, get to experience the excitement and everything from the athletes in the village. So, you know, obviously security is super strict. So it does take a little bit of time getting in and getting out. You can't go anywhere without your pass, yada, yada, yada. But it's, it's out of this world experience for sure.
It sounds like you kind of develop a real community within the Olympic Village. So
it is a real community, and particularly because you have sort of normally you just sort of have one or two buildings that is just Australian only, and then so you really get to know the athletes, and you've got elevators that go up between floors, so different teams, different sports. So you do tend to mingle. You know, the physio areas it's sort of like being at the AIS, but, you know, in a different country and all like right there within your little sphere. So it is pretty cool.
It sounds really cool. So just kind of in saying that now, obviously that sounds like it was a huge part of the experience of the Olympics and being an Olympian. And now Tokyo will be very different given the COVID situation, no crowds and health protocols. What impact do you think that this might have on the athletes in Tokyo?
Oh, look, I've been following some of the athletes on social media just to sort of see what they're experiencing. And in terms of the athletes' village, it doesn't look too different other than dining hall has those separators, like the dividers, the Perspex dividers between each one, which is kind of weird to see. But, you know, they've got to, I guess, do what they have to do to make sure that this virus doesn't take over in the village. And it will be a different experience for them, but I think it's still going to be amazing and so special for all the athletes. It looks like the community is set up, you know, their area within the village it's all decked out in Australian gear. They've got, you know, a breakfast bar, they've got cafes, they've got everything they need to make sure that, you know, they're happy and well looked after.
No, absolutely. And I think kind of as you said before, with your first Olympics, you had people taking care of you without you even really knowing it. So I'm sure, I have absolutely no doubt that that's the culture around the Opals and the Australian squad in general. So everyone will be having each other's back in there and it'll be creating a real family atmosphere within the Olympic bubble or whatever that may look like. So comparatively, what impact did it have to have friends, families and fans actually at your games?
Look, you got your friends and your teammates, you know, so I feel like, you know, if you're close with your teammates, you sort of they're like family anyway, I suppose. Mum and dad came in really handy for me, particularly as I got older. So I think 2008, they were over in China with us, and, I really needed them at that point. It's been pretty well documented that I was having a few mental health struggles at Olympics, and to have my parents there was, to be able to go after a game and go and eat with them and just be able to talk and open up and have them as that support system was huge for me. There's no doubt. But, my teammates and Tully Bevilacqua, who was one of my best friends, she was with me playing, and I really relied heavily on Marion Stewart, our team manager, and the people within the team as well to sort of take care of me, and they really did. And that's what being in a team is about.
Exactly,
So, it's important, but it's not sort of everything, because you do have that support system in your athletes and the team members.
Yeah, that absolutely is vital. And I think it'll be a huge contribution in their success as well throughout the Olympics. So kind of in saying that, the Opals got a win over Team USA. What are your expectations for the Opals in Tokyo?
Oh, man. I mean, they blew everyone away, I think. Watching that game, they were just incredible when they played USA in Las Vegas. So that was so special to watch. I think they're just going to get better. I think they've got a great style of basketball. They're running. They're playing super aggressive defense. Everybody is playing their role. Like, every single athlete out there, there's no, mega superstars on the team, but every single athlete is stepping up and playing their role to the very best of their ability. And I think, come an Olympics, that's what you want, is that everybody is reaching their peak at the same time, and they're reaching it together. Yeah. And I guess one thing that I saw in that game was that they are playing a style of basketball together. Like, they're there for each other. And it was so great to watch. There was no fighting with the referees. There was they just got the job done. And that's the sort of basketball that I love watching. And you know what? It's Opals basketball. That's how it's been. We've been a part of this culture that is resilient, that definitely bats above its weight. Is that even a saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Above average, something like that.
Well, we're always the underdogs, and we keep fighting. And I think that's something that the girls definitely showed, and it was just sort of like watching, the Opals of old. It was really incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I think as the games go on, they're just going to get better and better, and they're going to get more exciting to watch, and, probably get to a point where it's like, can it get better than this? And they're going to get better again. So, so much to look forward to for the Australian Opals and the Olympics in general. So thank you so much again, Lauren. Your knowledge on basketball and the Olympics, of course, is unmatched. So what an honour to be able to speak with you today, and thanks for being on Women with Drive.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Women with Drive, hosted by Lou Brown. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and if you could, leave us a review.